How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at all the movies I bought during the month of November, trying to get this monthly movie haul out a little earlier than I did the last one, but this is still a relatively new series. Basically, you guys do like to see what movies I bought, but it also helps me out keeping track of my giant media library and trying to, keep tabs of what I bought each month. But these movies, I have 13 of them. Sadly, only one Blu Ray, but I think it is an interesting Blu Ray. And the other 12 are DVD, but not any super huge releases. I think there may have been some super huge stuff that came out. I don't always run out to buy the new Blu-rays unless it's something I either really have to have or I think it will be a pain in the butt to find used later. You kind of got to monitor DVD prices, because if you go out and you take those $25 hits each time, you can shoot through your money. So I'd be careful what I buy new, but I do like to collect what I want, So no super huge Blu-rays this time around, but a lot of interesting, weirder stuff. Definitely some kind of random pulls and some holes that I had to fill up in my collection. So anyway, without further ado, let's switch to the close-up camera and take a look at what I picked up for this month. Alright, here we are inside the castle taking a closer look at all the movies I bought for November 2022. Let's go ahead and take a look at our first Blu-ray. Sadly, actually, our only Blu-ray this time around. Sometimes things just work out like that, This haul is primarily DVDs. But this Blu-ray is an interesting one. It's for a movie called The Hoot Owl, which I had never heard of before. It's about a group of kids, 2 guys, 2 girls, and they stay in what they think is an abandoned estate, and of course, it's not really abandoned. There's someone in the woods, apparently. A classic setup for a slasher, although I don't know much about it. Maybe it's a ghost movie. But let's bring it a little closer to the camera, and yeah, sadly, this case is way too shiny. Not quite sure how that happened. But if we flip it to the back, one of the things that caught my attention is it does mention that this is in the woods of East Texas. Yeah, if you guys know the channel, I'm actually, I live in Texas, and one of my local media stores had this out with a local sticker on it, So yeah, I drew my eye, it said local, and I'm like, yeah, some people from Texas made a movie. I gotta see how that turned out. And plus, getting a chance to grab something that I know didn't get a huge release. I always look for the fun, weird, little horror movies on Blu-ray that not everyone else is gonna have. So, open it up. There's the strange disc on the inside with 2 baby-like creatures eating each other. Not quite sure what's up with that. I think that's actually their studio logo. But yeah, always cool to check out local film. And hey, yeah, a cool, strange horror movie that I haven't heard of before. I'll definitely throw that into the pile. Anyway, another one, this is probably one of the bigger ones I have. I picked up Spirit Halloween, and yeah, I picked it up a little bit too late for this year's Halloween season, but you know what, next year I'll try to get to it. But this movie, it has Christopher Lloyd in it, so that's always cool, and it's about a group of young kids that sneak into a Halloween shop after it closes on Halloween night. We can see them down there, and yeah, I flip it to the back, it talks about how they're like middle schoolers or something, and if we look at the side, it does say family/kids. So yeah, not super enthusiastic about it if it's going to be like a kids horror movie, but I have seen several people talk about this one, and I did manage to find it used actually, one of the newer used copies, so I went ahead and grabbed it up even though I couldn't fit it in this year's Halloween marathon. Hopefully I'll get it in next year. One thing, though, that surprises me is I don't see official Spirit Halloween branding on this, which makes me think that this is an unofficial Spirit Halloween movie. Like, could they not copyright that name well enough and someone was able to go in and make a movie about it? Because, yeah, I don't see the famous, you know, Grim Reaper logo on this DVD. Crack it open, and the artwork is the same image as the front, but with his head pushed off to the side. Spirit Halloween, the movie. Yeah, don't know how official it is, and don't know how family horror it is, but worth checking out and throwing it into the Halloween collection for next year. Up next, another one that I'm really excited about, the new Shudder movie, Revealer, and it's about a 1980s post-apocalyptic Chicago, and two characters, a stripper and a priest, get stuck in it and have to figure their way out. It sounds like they may be stuck in a peep show booth, so this may be like a confinement thriller or something. But overall, I always do try to grab up the Shudder ones. This one I didn't see at Walmart. I see a lot of Shudder movies at Walmart, but this one, I think whenever they have these clear cases, those are the ones that don't make it to Walmart. I don't know if that's a thing. But anyway, open it up, we get the famous Shudder ad, now more advertising AMC+. Disc is the same as the front, but if we take this out, we do get to see a more retro-style version of the poster. This is reversible, so I always do like reversible DVDs, very classic 80s style version of that cover. So a new Shudder one to add to my big Shudder collection. My Shudder collection is actually pretty huge right now. I think when I get to 75 movies, I'll make a whole video on just Shudder. But anyway, after that, one more new one, and this one's called Devil's Workshop. And it's about this guy that wants to be a demonologist, think like Ed and Lorraine Warren. So he goes to this girl who's an established one and spends some time at her house. But of course, creepy and mysterious things start to happen. Overall, I hadn't really heard too much about this movie, but I found it for a reasonable price at my movie store and it looked interesting enough. And hey, plus this shiny foil slipcase. Let's slide this out and open it up, and the disc is sadly really plain, but there's the inside for you guys. So that one seemed interesting, and that's the last of the new ones. Well, the new to come out recent movies. The rest of the stuff is kind of random older stuff, but here's one that if you keep up with the channel, you probably remember. Frozen. Yeah. The first time I saw this, it was on streaming, and it was one of those that I realized, even though I had seen it before, when I wanted to do the review of this for November, I had to actually run out and buy the DVD. But, you know, because I like to have stuff in my collection before I talk about them. But yeah, I went and I picked this up. It was kind of old, so got it relatively cheap used. But this is about a group of friends that get stuck on a ski lift, and they have to figure out how to get down. It was the last day of the weekend, so if they don't come out, they're going to be stuck there all the way till Friday, so that's not great. But the movie does get by a lot with its clever writing. You know, there's lots of humor in the banter with the characters. This was written and directed by Adam Green, the same guy that did Hatchet. So, yeah, he gets by with a lot of humor to help pass the time and really work this confinement thriller. Sadly, a little bit after this movie came out, the Disney movie called Frozen came out, and it kind of overshadowed it on search engines, you know. You have to type in Frozen 2010. But anyway, under artwork is the same. Really shiny disc right there. And let's go ahead and slide that in. After that, some really random movies that I don't know much about. But I saw this one. Had to pick it up. It looked really weird. This one's called Horsehead. And Horsehead it's this girl. She goes back to her hometown after, I think it's her grandmother who dies, and she gets sick and has to stay in bed, and she starts to lucid dream to try to figure out why she's having all these strange nightmares, and starts to uncover some family secrets. So it looked like a cool art house horror movie, and I thought, hey, you know, this could be really good. It's a French movie. There's been a ton of really good French movies like High Tension, so I thought I'd pick it up, and we get this cool inner thing where, like, we get, like, rusty middle, and it looks like an eye looking at you. A really cool inner part for the disc there. So yeah, had to check out Horsehead. After that, another one that I don't know too terribly much about, but looked interesting enough. It's this movie called Kiss the Abyss. So a good title right off the bat, and we have like this eye on this weird face and stuff. But if we flip it to the back, it talks about how there's this guy and his wife is died, and the movie's about him trying to bring her back. But of course, that never goes well in horror movies. So I thought, hey, that's an interesting concept. Plus, I found this for only $4, so can't really go wrong there. So yeah, another kind of mystery movie that I added to the list. Up next, a multi-pack. After this, we're going to get into clearance items that I picked up. But this one I found for a multi-pack. Freakshow Cinema, and it lists a few titles there. And we get a creepy woman, and we get a clown, and then we get her up top leaning over the logo. And this is one of those Echo Bridge 3-disc sets, and there she is again. But if we look at it, over 17 hours, but we get 3 discs with 12 movies on them. So a little bit of simple math, we're looking at 4 movies on each disc. But these are a bunch of weird movies that I've never heard of, which isn't always a great sign, granted, but a lot of these, like, how many copies of Night of the Living Dead and Last Man on Earth do I need, you know? I like that this is 12 movies, but I don't think I have these movies anywhere else. Tales of the Dead, Zombie Genocide, The Curse of Blanchard Hill, Idol of Evil, Below Ground, Order of One, Kung Fu Killing Spree, Cold Creepy Feeling, Indemnity, Rage of a Jealous Vampire, Gutter Goddess, Dark Measures, By the Devil's Hands, and then Tuck Bushman and the Legend of Piddletown Dale. That's a weird title, but whatever. If we crack this open, we can see that, yeah, we are crammed 4 on a disc. I think a lot of these movies are on the shorter side, but I wouldn't look for a great quality, you know. But lots of really weird and obscure movies on this stuff. There's another one. And there's the last disc there. So, yeah, pick up 12 movies for a relatively cheap price. And I do like covering and looking at weird stuff like this. You know, multi-packs, always just a source of crazy, weird movies. Anyway, after that, these next 4 movies I got on the clearance bin for only $2 a piece. So that's pretty cool. And there's some definite holes in my collection, starting off with Sinister. Glad to finally get this. This, much like Frozen, is one that I had seen on streaming a few times, but never actually picked up and really did need it. It's a Blumhouse movie, and actually one of their better films. It's directed by Scott Derrickson, who just did The Black Phone pretty recently. That one was really good. And also, much like The Black Phone, it stars Ethan Hawke. So yeah, cool to see the same director and actor working together before. But it's this guy, he's a true crime writer that goes to a house where children have gone missing and adults have died. and he finds some creepy tapes and has to uncover the mystery. Anyway, inside is kind of a boring gray disc, but hey, filled in a major hole in my Blumhouse collection. Anyway, after that, another $2 movie, Jessica Chastain in Mama. And this is directed by Andy Muschietti, who would go on to direct It, and Jessica Chastain would be in part 2 of it. But basically in this movie, you get this woman who adopts 2 daughters who have been found in the woods being raised by a mysterious mother figure who the authorities don't ever see. It's like 2 little girls that get raised by a ghost, which is a pretty interesting and different concept. I remember this movie being pretty good, but I haven't seen it in a couple years. Anyway, it's also produced by Guillermo del Toro, which is always fun. Produced but not directed, and there's the disc once again. Anyway, after that, we have one that I needed to fill a hole in my collection, but I wasn't in a huge hurry to get. But this is Ghostbusters Answer the Call, the 2016 Ghostbusters movie. And yeah, a whole lot has been said about this movie. I wasn't a big fan of it, really. And yeah, I know, shocking, right? Everybody talked about the gender swapping for the Ghostbusters, but really, that is the least of this movie's problems. The movie doesn't get the basic contrast that the Ghostbusters are like low-key humor, and the Ghost are the big wacky humor, and in turn, the whole movie is big wacky humor, and it just seems kind of dumb, but more troubling than the fact that, you know, everybody talks about all this big stuff with it, but not enough people talk about how this movie makes light of suicide. There's a character's suicide in here that's just played as a joke, and I find that super disrespectful. And I told myself, you know, this is a hole in my collection, but because of that whole thing, I would never buy this movie new. And I told myself, because if it's new, it goes to the people who made it, and I really don't want to support that. But I told myself I would only buy it if I found it for $2 or cheaper, and it went to, you know, a company that I wanted to support. So I got this from my local bookstore, and it was $2, and it's still in the plastic. So yeah, not a great movie, really. Yeah, a lot of stuff happened after that one came out, but yeah, not gonna lie, not a fan of it. But like I said, the money did go to my local bookstore, and I did have to fill that hole in my Ghostbusters collection, but yeah, not a fan. Up next, though, for $2 as well, I picked up Thelma and Louise because this is a Ridley Scott film. Ridley Scott did a bunch of really great, amazing stuff. Primarily, I'm a big fan of Alien and Blade Runner. He's done a lot of cool things, and I do want to look into his other movies. But that being said, I'm more of a horror and sci-fi geek, so this really wasn't something that was super up my alley. It's like a crime movie about these 2 women on the run. So I'm not the hugest action fan, but I like Scott's other work. So I haven't seen it yet, but I'm like, hey, $2, it can help fill in my collection. But another reason why I was never in a big hurry to watch it is because everybody always spoils the ending of this movie, and I don't like when people do that. So it's not a huge motivation for me to watch this movie because I already know how it ends, and that kind of sucks. There's movies like this and Planet of the Apes that everybody just openly talks about the end. The movie Society, everybody just talks about the end. Don't do that. Don't spoil people. Anyway, whatever. Another movie to add to my Ridley Scott collection. So, that's cool. Anyway, after that we have the last one. These 4 were all $2 each. This one I got for $1, and it's a Blumhouse movie I had never heard of before. It's called Not Safe for Work. Now, I read the description on the back. Despite the title, it doesn't seem like it's actually a dirty movie. A little bit of sticker on the top there. It looks like there's this guy, and he's just a regular, average, everyday office worker. And this killer breaks in and starts killing people, and he has to escape, but also save as many of his coworkers as he can, but also finds that his office has a dark secret behind it. But yeah, there's the Blumhouse logo there. So yeah, a Blumhouse movie I hadn't heard of. Not, I mean, if it's a Blumhouse movie I haven't heard of, that's not necessarily a great sign, but it's something I am curious about. You know, I do want to see all the different Blumhouse movies, and for just $1, I'll go ahead and throw that into that collection there and help fill out Blumhouse. So yeah, actually between this one and Sinister, we have 2 more movies for my Blumhouse collection for $3. That's what I mean about buying your movie smartly and saving a little bit of money. So yeah, we got 4 new ones, finally picked up Frozen, finally picked up Sinister and Mama, and like Horsehead and Kiss the Abyss and all the movies in Freakshow Cinema. I really do like some random stuff here. So these are all the movies that I picked up. I think there's 13 things, but really this is 12, so add 11 to that, and it would be, what, 24 movies total? So, yeah, a pretty good haul this month, even though there's nothing in here that's super big. One thing that I will say really quick that's not in here is I was gonna grab a few movies from Walmart's Black Friday, but Walmart has royally messed up their Black Friday over the past 2 years, where I really just don't know what's going on, and I go down there on Black Friday itself, and they tell me the DVD sale is over before Black Friday even begins. I don't know what Walmart's doing, and really, if I'm a shopper, I should know what Walmart's doing, but they're trying to make it like a month-long thing, and it's really unclear what's going to be on sale when, and I'm not downloading your app. Okay, I don't want to rant too much longer, but yeah, I just couldn't believe it that I was in Walmart on Black Friday, and they told me the sale was already over. Anyway, that's the haul. Sorry to go on that rant at the end there. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. I'll put my hauls playlist on the bottom. If you guys want to see my haul for October, you can find that in there as well. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.